Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your host, Jackie Chism, back again with another episode of the Chism Sports Groove. That's the CSG, if you didn't know. And today we got a great show for you today, episode 17. I hope we'll not disappoint. We're going to definitely talk about those coaching positions that are open in the NFL, first and foremost. We also talk about those Titans that are on the first round bye with their number one seed. Then we're going to definitely go into the Super Wildcard weekend from the NFL and some NBA games in Vegas, baby. We got hot news and non-news today. And I'm going to go over my final thoughts at the end of it. We're going to just talk about some things. All right, guys. That's episode 17. Let's get it.
Hit that like and subscribe button, and we always love feedback, so leave a comment. Now, back to your regular scheduled program.
What's going on, guys? Definitely gonna jump right into it. It's been crazy to see all the coaching positions that have opened up. Some you expected, some you never did. I just want to talk about a few of them, or all of them, and just see where my head is at and see what I think about the whole situation as well. We're gonna jump right into the worst situation of all, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, I think they still got the number one pick. They definitely need a new coach. There's just so much going on in that organization. You would think that they would be looking at an established coach to bring in a culture for that organization, something they have not had in a while, especially with the turnover in coaching that they've had. You would think that there's somebody who is able to build a staff around a good staff around that defense and that offense, that they can grow talent, because Jacksonville's not a good free agent destination. If you want to get paid really well but don't mind losing, that's a good place to go. But if you're playing at the highest level, you always mind losing. All right, next, I definitely want to talk about the Broncos. I mean, they have so many holes. You would think that they would also bring in somebody that John Elway can trust and lean on to bring that organization back to where they were with the Peyton Manning days. But the amount of candidates that you would think that they bring in is not going to be it. They're probably going to look at some defensive coordinator, older guy that's been in the league for a while, that's done a great job. Maybe a Rams or like the Packers, somebody with a decent defense. Maybe the Bills, they bring in like a Leslie Frazier. I can see that from that organization, because like John Fox and Gary Kubiak and Vic Fangio, I mean, they're all older guys who coached in this league for a while. So I think that they're going to stay with that trend. I don't think they should. I think they should go more offensive to see what you can get out of Drew Lock. He has all the arm talent in the world. I don't think he has like the best decision-making coaching to this point in his career. Definitely want to talk about one needed coaching fire, the Chicago Bears. I mean, like, when was enough? I mean, I understand that you probably didn't have a assistant coach that you believed in enough to lead the team for the rest of the year, but I mean, was the head coach really leading them this year? I mean, they have so much talent on that offense with so much speed, good running backs, a young franchise quarterback. You like to have a good coach, that young coach that can figure it out with them. Somebody who is able to bring in a great defensive coordinator for that defense, because they still have some good pieces. You would think that they're just going to rebuild that offensive line from the ground up this offseason, probably add a few more weapons on the defensive side, and try to make it a playoff push next year, especially with Justin Fields being a really good prospect at this point in his career. Staying in the same division, I think that the Vikings head coaching fire was definitely good. They've been middling for years, so I can see them going young because they have so many young pieces core to that team. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. They're just a good coach away from getting over, like being over the Chicago Bears or the Detroit Lions. I like what the Lions are doing down there with Dan Campbell. They've got to jump on these two, I feel like, personally. So they have some catching up to do. I think that the Bears and the Vikings do have better rosters, so that's going to be the best starting point. They're going to be great coaches that they have to choose from. Both of them also have to replace their GM, so you can see that there could possibly be open season on some of the older vets with expiring contracts. Some of the non-fit guys anymore, like if there's any system changes. So, I mean, it's going to be crazy off season. I can't wait to see it. Going into a coach that needed to be fired was Joe Judge. Good Lord. I mean, even if it's the second year, they've replaced coaches. They have 3 coaches in 6 years, and only giving each coach 2 years apiece, but they're getting the same results every time. You gotta like that they're gonna start everything over, because that organization is just old timing. It's boring. There's nothing around like Saquon Barkley to even have kept him healthy or keep him productive. It's just ridiculous of how that organization is going. The 3rd and 9 quarterback sneak was enough for me. If I was ever a owner, to just call that man or walk down to the field at that point, tap him on his shoulder, and just tell him to get out. I'll send you your shit. Nah, that's not what we putting out on the field. They're giving us room to punt. Run a screen, run a draw, run something else but a quarterback sneak. You at least try. So that's definitely necessary. I feel like they're gonna continue with the unestablished first year head coaches. Probably some position coach or a coordinator. Hopefully I'm hoping for their sake that they with the roster that they have just again, they just need a team builder. A coach that's established and can bring in the offensive line coach, the defensive line coaches that help build them up. But if they in the middle of the pack and just continue the way that their hiring processes are going, they're going to continue to be the same Giants. So look forward to see it. Man, we're going to talk about 2 coaches I feel like that did not deserve to be fired at any point. The Dolphins fired Brian Flores, and the Texans just recently fired David Culley. Nah, even though Culley's in the same vision, he was able to coach really well, and get his players to play really hard at the end of the season. I know they got beat really bad by 49ers to week 17, but week 18, they had some pride in that game against Tennessee. Even though they were down 21-0, they still were able to rally back. He was able to they were able to put a lot of points on the board when nobody thought that they were. Davis Mills has grown into a good quarterback. I think it was their offensive coordinator that the Titans tried to interview before the season started. Texans actually blocked him, and you can hear Brable saying good things about him at the end of the game, how they were able to work the field, work the mismatches, and call some really good plays against Tennessee. Even though we were, playing back, just in a cover, shell coverage, just not trying to put much on film, they still took all advantage of it. You like to see it. If you're a coordinator, if you're a coach as well, ownership, I don't know what they're doing. I guess they're just trying to bring in a guy that they like. I heard terrible things about the GM, Jack Ellaby. He's just a terrible person. Damn, I don't know what to say about the Texans. As their division rival, I really like that they don't keep him, because he actually had that team trending in the right direction, I feel like. Same with Brian Flores. He definitely had that team trending in the right direction. Like it or not, dude was winning games. They had a winning season coming from what we thought was probably the worst team just about ever 3 years ago for the Dolphins when he took over. And to now be just eliminated week 18 with a win over Belichick and the Patriots, you would have thought at least the way they ended the season and was trending in the right direction with all the youth and injuries that they had, they were going to be good next year, especially bringing back Brian Flores, but whatever. I'm not sure what either one of these teams really want to do. So, in my opinion, there's nothing that I can give for these situations. I feel like they're just gonna bring in some guys that they know and like. Probably some hot commodities on the market. Probably you'll hear a Jake Gruden's name, maybe somebody like that. Somebody who's traveled around and been around for a while. But if they were going more younger and more offensive related to try to keep up with the teams in their division, the Bills' #1 defense, the Patriots' great defense, the Titans in their running game. If you wanted to keep up, maybe you're going younger coaching, offensive coaches, switching the philosophy. But that's what I would do at this point. But I don't think that they're going to. Two teams I don't know if they're going to have a coaching change, but we're going to talk about it anyway, is the Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks. I have huge question marks about these teams. Do you bring back Pete Carroll? Do you keep Rich Bisaccia? I think that they're both on just the complete ends of the scale. One of them feel is starting a great trend. Bisaccia was able to come in and weather the ship, keep everything afloat. I think him and Derek Carr are a great match. With the two of them, they were still able to make the playoffs, even with all the injuries and roster upsets that they've had over the season. Coach, all the drama that's going on in that organization has been ridiculous to see. I think that they would give Bisaccia a chance. I definitely would. And give him a chance to build his own staff. If there's some people that he necessarily, would not have on his coaching staff there, I would give him a chance to hire some and put together the team that he wants. I feel like he's earned at least that much trust to give him at least a couple of years. Now, Pete Carroll, on the other hand, I'm not so sure, really, man. to be honest. Like, is he at the end of his road? He's an older guy. I mean, they played really well at the end of the season, week 18 against the Cardinals. But I mean, like, there's 16 games before that, though. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't see him coming back without Russell Wilson next year. And if he doesn't, I feel like they're going to go young. They're definitely going to go young because of the division. Like, think about who else is in their division. Coaching wise, you got Cliff Kingsbury, Sean McVay, and Kyle Shanahan. So, I mean, those are three offensive-minded, young high head coaches, and I think that they're going to either bring in like a defensive-minded, like a great defensive head coach to counteract that and be the opposite, or they're going to bring in somebody who's like in the same mold and try to like out McVay them. So I would definitely go the defensive route personally, but you know, that's me. Alright guys, when I come back, we're definitely going to jump right into Titans time. Stay tuned.
Hit that like and subscribe button, and we always love feedback, so leave a comment. Now, back to your regular scheduled program.
Henry breaks a tackle. Touchdown Titans! Touchdown Titans! He is the baddest man in the NFL!
Yo, what's going on, guys? Back again with Titans time. It's your host, Jackie Chism, a lifelong Titans fan. Man, it's so exciting to see the Titans not playing on the first round of the playoffs for this reason only. Like, if we were sitting at home, like, watching the rest of the playoffs, that's not, like, what I want to see. But if we're sitting at home watching the rest of the playoff, watching the first round of playoffs and licking our chops at who we going to get next, man, it's so amazing. Oh, man. Shout out to Kevin Byard with the All-Pro honors. He played like it. I mean, like, he's definitely one of the best safeties in the game, if not the best safety. I think the other one was Jordan Poyer when I looked it up, and I just think that Kevin Byard's better than Jordan Poyer. That's just me. So if that's the case, then Kevin Byard is definitely one of, or not the best safety in the game. Shout out to you, bro. You deserve all the roses. Give that man his flowers while he's still here. So definitely think that we got some things to talk about for our bye week, and just some quick questions that came to my head that I think that the Titans we should talk about. Yeah. So I just want to jump right into it, though. So I really think that we need to think about who we want to play in the second round. I mean, to be honest, it's a real dilemma. I know it's out of 3 teams, though. I mean, if I had to break it down to who we wanted to see, in the second week, I mean, it's between the Patriots, the Steelers, and the Raiders. And which one of those teams you want to see the most? I mean, I really want to see some get back on the Patriots. But if the Steelers were to win that game, you know it's a fluke. You know they're not going to come to Tennessee and beat them at this game. So I really would love to see Tennessee. I would love Tennessee to play the Steelers 1 or the Raiders 2. Right? If we can get the Patriots, I know for a fact that we're healthier at this point, and there's no way that they're going to beat us the way that they beat us last time. Who do I not want to see us play? Like, I slick don't want to see Joe Burrow and the Bengals. If they come off hot against the Raiders, they're going to be like lights out. And our secondary is one of our weakest points. So I definitely do not want to see that. But I will not want to see the Bills this playoffs. They have some retribution if they think they're going to get back on us. And the way that they are playing, they can play, especially if it's in Tennessee again, with decent conditions. I think Josh Allen and them are going to, are going to play like their hearts out. I know Tennessee is always going to come smack you in the mouth, but it's just going to be like the toughest game I think that we would have to play all year. Now, what do we need to do this week, I feel like, to be successful? And it starts with Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, all getting healthy. Like, resting this week, but also, just getting through treatments, making sure everything's top-notch, getting ready for the long haul of the rest of the season, because there's 3 more games for us. I'm hoping that we win all 3 of these games, because, that would send me running through the streets. I don't know how I would be able to control myself at any point in time. Man. Next, we definitely need to work on discipline, like with the penalties and turnovers. We need to work on just not getting the holding calls, not get on offense or on defense. Definitely not breaking down coverages, making sure we have all the communication that we need for our defenses to work, and our offensive line and offenses to work efficiently as possible, because whoever we play is going to win a playoff game, so they're not going to be a scrub. So we definitely need to make sure that we're not giving up possessions. We're not hurting ourselves on first and second down, putting ourselves in third and longs, not giving up turnovers, and not missing turnovers on that point as well. So that's definitely something that we need to work on this week. That you can never get too much work on that. And last but not least, we definitely need to work on continuity. But because after all the injuries and playing 91 different players, getting people back now healthy with a bye week in the first week, you have to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Again, that works with the discipline as well, making sure that, but it goes deeper than that, because again, that helps with the turnovers, offensive and defensive. That's the difference between a 20-yard play and a busted coverage, a busted offensive line play for a sack fumble that they're running the other way. So I definitely think that we definitely want to put the hours in, and I think I just know that Vrabel's going to get them ready to play together as one cohesive unit on all 3 phases of the game. Next, I want to talk about, I definitely looking at my notes, who needs this? Who on the Titans needs this playoff run the most? And off the top of my head, I definitely think it's the middle linebackers for the Tennessee Titans, Jaylen Brown and Rashad Evans. They're both on the last year of their deals. You could see that Tennessee likes Zach Cunningham. They love David Long. Monty Rice is coming back next year. We do have some wiggle room in free agency as well. So are we going to bring back one of those or both of those? I don't think that they're bringing back both of them. So I would think that Jaylen Brown needs to show up a little bit better in run coverage and run defense, and Rashad Evans needs to show up better in pass coverage. Whichever one that they feel that can fit the roles at the price that they can get is going to win. But this is a big trial period for the both of them. Next is, on a different note, is going to be Roger Saffold. I think he needs this bad because He just limped through the whole season this year. Missed a few games, missed ton of snaps throughout the games because of injuries, especially like nagging ankles, shoulders. At the age of like, what is he, 36, 37 next year if he comes back. I mean, I just don't think he will at this point, especially if we are able to put together a great run this year and get him back to a Super Bowl like he did with the Rams. So could this be his last run? I mean, it's untold. You never know. I mean, it's been great to have him. He's a beast in the running game. He's a man to block. He's a whole mountain to get around. I mean, so I'm happy that we signed him. He's worked out when he's on the field really well, and he's been a tough guy to be tough it out throughout games as well, especially late in the games. Next, I think we definitely want to talk about is Ryan Tannehill. Like, he needs this playoffs bad because of his. I think this is more than just his legacy and what people are going to say about him at the end of the day. It's about the long-term situation for the Titans. Now, if Tannehill's not able to hit A.J. Brown, Julio, Ferguson, Swain, the running backs out the backfield, and he just misses reads and cannot produce at a high enough level for us to win, I just don't see the Titans continuing with him long term. I think that would sell us on, potentially using a higher pick on a quarterback that we can groom behind him, not relying on Tannehill at all at the end of the day. So, I mean, there's probably wiggle room for after next year for his contract for the Titans to get out of. Probably not take too much of a hit, especially knowing that Tannehill's at the older, in the middle of his 30s. So, leaning towards the back end of his career. I mean, I just don't see Tannehill being the long-term situation if he's not able to produce at the high enough level for this team. So he definitely needs this. All right, my prediction for this week is definitely going to be we're going to get a win this weekend, and depending on how practice goes next week, going into next weekend, I feel that we're going to dominate defensively. I just don't see the Bengals down really giving us too much problems with an extra week to prepare for. So I can see us preparing for any of the 4 through 7 teams this week. Probably not the Steelers, you know what I'm saying, but maybe the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Patriots. We're probably doing something to prepare for them this week. So I feel that look for us to get an early start in the game. I think we'll get an early start, good or bad. So I can't wait till next week. We're going to talk about the Titans a little bit more in the next coming episodes, going into our division round weekend. I'm so excited to see who we want to play, and it's just going to be a great playoffs. I feel like this year it's another year that I'm just giddy. I'm just like a childlike happy. I'm a 30-year-old man, and I'm excited about these Tennessee Titans this year. I was excited about them last year. The year before that, it was just something different about the team that I've been a fan of since I was 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? When they first came to Tennessee, the first game against the Raiders, as the Tennessee Oilers in Memphis, Memphis did not show much love at that point because they were going to move to Nashville anyway. So my dad was able to get like cheap tickets, and we went and just to see Steve McNair and just Eddie George. Steve McNair and Randall Godfrey, and just the way that they were able to compete and win that game against a really good Raiders team at the time, with a stadium full of Raiders fans. I mean, I was hooked, man. So I mean, I haven't had many years that I felt like this good about the team. This is one of those years, and I'm excited. All right, guys, when I come back, we're going to run right into Vegas, baby. Stay tuned.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Yo, what's going on, guys? Vegas, baby. This is a segment where we go over our locks, chances, and wild cards for anything we can bet on, and afterwards, we give our good, the bad, and the ugly from those picks. Today, I definitely want to cover these super wild card games, man. We got some crazy games this weekend. I can't wait to see them. Starting Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night games, man. I be honest with you, I feel like the Monday night game, I think that's the Cardinals and the Rams. That's actually unfair because they're gonna be on a short week next week, essentially. So unlike the teams that's playing on a Saturday or Sunday, and I would imagine that they're going to play on a Sunday, but the team that they play against is going to have an extra day or two against them. So I don't know. I don't like it. And even if they play against the Packers, they could have like even more time against them. So I don't like that one. That's just me though. But let's jump right into our locks for this week. I definitely want to start off with Kansas City over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I agree with Big Ben. There's no chance. Just none. I think that Kansas City is playing really well right now, and good enough is enough to beat the Steelers right now. I mean, J.J. Watt and Cam Hayward are ridiculous. They're all pros again. Minkah Fitzpatrick's playing really well, so their defense is playing good. I think that there's just not enough speed on that defense to match up with the Kansas City Chiefs, but you know, miracles can't happen though, right? I'm not betting on it though. I'm also going to take Tampa Bay over the Eagles. I just feel like the Eagles were barely a playoff team, and to see one of the best teams in the NFC, Tampa Bay, it's just, there's no way I see Tom Brady losing in the first round against the Eagles. Like, if it was a different team, maybe, but I just, the matchup between the two, the way that the pass rush gets there from the Bucs, I know they're getting back Shaq Barrett and JPP. The way they stop the run is really good against a team that runs really well. I'm not too sold on Jalen Hurts outshining Tom Brady in a throwing match. So going right into my chances though, I definitely think I'm going to take a chance on the Bengals beating the Raiders. That's just, I just think that the Raiders gone as far as they're going to go. Like, there's no way that they were not going to be in the playoffs the way they played in that game against the Chargers. But just with the turmoil and with everything that they've lost this year, coaching, players, I just think that, you know, they've exceeded expectations, and a hot team like the Bengals could come in and shut down all hopes of the Cinderella story this year. Next, I'm going to definitely take a chance on the Arizona Cardinals over the St. Louis Rams. Seeing that D-Hop is back, it just makes that offense an entirely different thing. Like that, you have to double him, which leaves so much speed on the rest of that team wide open, including Kyler Murray. And the way that Matt Stafford's been playing lately, like it's only going to come down to a possession or two. I think that Jalen Ramsey and that defense are going to get pressure on Kyler. They're going to get tipped balls. They're going to be close. I think they might get a turnover too, but I feel like Matt Stafford's definitely going to get the game up at the end of the day. So I'm not trusting Matt Stafford. I do trust Kyler with D-Hop though. All right, going right into my wild cards for this weekend. I'm going to start off with, I think that the Patriots are going to win, going to win over the Buffalo Bills. Like, they split earlier in the season when the Patriots were able to win. It was a crazy game, stupid wind gust. Nobody could throw the ball. Nobody could kick it really. And it was just a coaching battles to see who could put up enough points to win at the end of the day. With sub-zero temperatures in Buffalo, I think that there's going to be not that ability to throw all around the yard that Josh Allen needs to. So it's going to come down to running games, keeping possessions, and I just don't trust Josh Allen over a Belichick-led offense team. It's just that simple. All right, last but not least, I definitely wanted to talk about I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers over the Dallas Cowboys. I don't see the writing's on the wall with Dallas. Like everything, the stars have aligned for them to have another first round exit. Like for them to have a great pass rush against a team that does not like to pass the ball, that likes to run the ball a lot. That's saying something for Dak to have turnovers against a defense that doesn't give up big plays and just looks for like a few turnovers or stops here and there. To have like the pass rush with Bosa and Armstead, like it's not lining up right now for Dallas Cowboys, and you know that whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So I'm not putting no money behind Dallas at any point in time. I would love to see a first round exit from somebody who just don't like the Cowboy fans, like the way the unearned arrogance. Oh, it's wild. All right, guys, we're gonna jump right into some NBA primetime games on Friday night. We definitely gonna start off with the Golden State Warriors traveling to Chicago to play the Bulls. The Bulls just let me down in the last game against the Nets. You just see that they were going to be in that game even with Kyrie. But I mean, it could have just been one of those games and just one of those days. The Warriors are beatable for they're not like the win-all beat-all team that they were when the 72-win team or when Kevin Durant was there. So you lean more towards a bounce-back game for the Chicago Bulls, especially being at home. But I like the way Clay's simulating back in, and I'm just gonna have to go with the Warriors in this one. Next, we got the Mavs traveling to Memphis and playing the Grizzlies. I mean, the Grizzlies are playing out of their mind right now. Ja Morant should be an MVP candidate. Like, just the way he's playing, he definitely should be an all-star right now. I love to see what he's doing with this team. The way that you see the growth in our team as well, even missing Steven Adams right now and Dylan Brooks, we are still playing really well, beating anybody who wants to come in to the FedEx Forum and beat them. Like, being a hometown team, I love seeing it. I've always wanted to see a consistently good Memphis team with a consistently good, well-ran franchise. I mean, when Huey Brown was there, that was the only time that I feel like that they were consistently a good team. And then the grit and grind years. I mean, those are like 10 plus years in between the two. So growing, and that's vital time of growing up for me. Like, so I definitely think that this is a really talented team. John Morant's really leading it. He was my preseason pick to be like the first time All-Star. So I mean, he's definitely something to watch. I'm definitely not betting against him with a team like the Mavs, who've been very inconsistent. All right, jumping right into Saturday, we got the 76ers traveling to Miami to play the Heat. These teams are so evenly matched. This is a hard one to call. I think that Joel Embiid is a matchup nightmare for the Miami Heat, especially with Bam in and out of the lineup this year. I'm not so sure if he's playing in this game or not, but if he is, then I like the Miami Heat's chances. If he isn't, I think Joel's just going to run it up, man. I think that's a triple-double waiting to happen. All right. Next, we got the Lakers traveling to Denver to play the Denver Nuggets. I just don't know what's going on with the entire Laker organization right now. I mean, I can see that they can try to make some moves, I just don't think that Russell Westbrook is the answer. Keeping the ball in his hands as much as he wants to keep it in his hands is conduct detrimental to the team at this point. Like, yeah, he just, I think he's forcing it. Like, and he's in his younger years, he would play so fast because he just was so fast. It wasn't that he was playing at 1,000 miles an hour for himself. He was playing at 1,000 miles an hour for everybody else. Now, to keep that pace, now I feel like he's trying to play at 1,000 miles an hour instead of just letting his game run at 1,000 miles an hour. And you can see that's what's really hurting that team. Like, you got an all-star, one of the top 75 players of all time, MVP, future Hall of Famer that's producing a turnover reel every day. I can't bet with that right now. Especially against the top, 7 teams in the West, probably the top 4 or 5 teams in the East. I just think that the Lakers are going to have to just come to Jesus with what they have as a roster, and especially not having Anthony Davis there. So, it's a real crap show down there. Going right into Sunday, we got the Rockets traveling to Sacramento to play the Kings. Even though I feel like people would think that the Rockets are below the Kings, I think that that's the matchup in itself is going to be evenly matched. The Kings they're both middle of the pack, lower middle of the pack teams, losing records, lots of talent on the team, lots of youth on their teams as well. I just don't think that this is one of those games Houston's going to pull out. And they will surprise some people, though. I mean, I really think that this is a game that they could surprise and pull an upset. But De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes, I think that their post presence and the way that they can score it in the paint is just going to be too much for them in this game. last but not least, we got the Jazz traveling to Denver to play the Nuggets. I'm gonna roll with the Jazz only because it's the regular season. Donovan Mitchell is balling like usual when he's healthy. I think Gobert's gonna be back for that game after missing about 5 games. So that's gonna be it'll be a good one. I think that as long as Gobert's there to counteract Joker, there's not much else that Denver's going to be able to bring to the table. All right, guys, that's Vegas, baby. When we come back, we're going to jump right into hot news, not news. Stay tuned.
Hit that like and subscribe button, and we always love feedback, so leave a comment. Now, back to your regular scheduled program.
What?
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's hot news or not news. It's a segment where we go over some of the latest topics in the world of sports, and we decide if it's hot news, we're going to stop and talk about it, and if it's not news, we're going to try to explain why and keep it pushing. We're going to jump right into the day's topics. I'm starting off with Georgia winning the national championship over Alabama. I think that this is crazy hot news. Anytime that Nick Saban's knocked off his pedestal, underdog comes in to win. The way that Georgia's been turned around by Kirby Smart, I think is amazing of a turnaround. They've had one of the best defenses in all of college football, and it showed up in that game on Monday night. It was ridiculous to see how they handled Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, Alabama did have some unfortunate injuries that I think changed some of the dynamics of the game, but good. That was a great win for Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. It's definitely a big thing when somebody else wins the national championship, because I feel like it helps with the deconsolidation of talent in certain places. The more Alabama wins, the more 5-star recruits are going to trust the process, sit behind, and just stay there until they can't stay there no more, or get a chance they can play. So I mean, you love to see somebody else winning, especially the underdogs. Man, it's wild to see. Next, I definitely want to talk about the GM of the Indianapolis Colts, Chris Ballard, who said himself that he was not feeling like that he should commit to anything or talk about any player at this point right now after the season, which I feel like it is internally is a shot at Carson Wentz. In the same interview, he also said, and I quote, "I'd like to quit band-aiding it. I'd like for Carson to be the long-term answer and find somebody who would be here for the next 10 to 12 years. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I can dream about it, wish about it, do everything I can to figure out the solution, but you do the best with what you can do at the time." Which I feel like he's completely frustrated. This is hilariously hot news. Like, oh my God, to see the turmoil in his statements about the long-term solution of the quarterback position and the franchise. They gave up what ended up being a first-round pick for Carson Wentz, and I don't think that they have a first-round pick in return in Carson Wentz. Oh man, he definitely is furious serious about that situation, you can that's the most politest way I think that you can say that it's either Carson or we're gonna find somebody else. There's a couple people in the draft I'm thinking that he's alluding to that he might want to take a lot of looks at. That know they do have Carson still on the books for next year, but I think it's a cheaper deal though, so you can afford to keep him and groom somebody else for the next 10 to 12 years is what I'm thinking he's alluding to. But I mean, that's only if Carson's not the guy. He's really young. I mean, he could play for the next 10 years, essentially seeing how quarterbacks are playing into their late 30s at this point in time now. But I just don't see any confidence in that statement, which says a whole lot about the state of that franchise. They were going into last season being quote unquote a good quarterback away from getting over the hump, and I think they're still at that state at that point. So shout out. All right, the next topic I definitely want to jump right into is one Novak Djokovic, the tennis player, is set to be deported from Australia. He's not allowed to play in the Australian Open. Do I think that this is news? At this point in the story, it definitely is not news. But for him to be one of the top players in the sport and not allowed because of the regulations of that sport, of the country that is playing in, I feel like it's not really news. It's a global pandemic, and they're one of the countries that actually took it completely serious and have not had as much outbreak and death as the rest of the world at this point. So for them to have to stick to their guns, knowing that Djokovic has lied about COVID in the past, and it just doesn't I just think that it's not news at this point because he's not taking it serious. He's been in contact with people after knowing, and then lying about it and after facts. So I mean, it's just a safety precaution for that country, and what he's already done was his decisions beforehand, and that's just I think the repercussions of his actions. So I think that is definitely not news for just that aspect of it. All right, my last topic for the day. I want to talk about Cam Reddish being traded to the New York Knicks for Kevin Knox and a first-round pick. Do I think that this is news? I think it's huge news for the New York Knicks to get somebody who can score going right. Oh, it's ridiculous. For them to get an upgrade for Kevin Knox, who they have not trusted and not played all year, I think is going to be great for the New York Knicks to get a young player, somebody like Cam Reddish, who's going to play again with R.J. Barrett. I mean, I think that those two are going to help out the chemistry, them playing together. I think that him and his getting a bucket ability is going to definitely help out and be on display more in MSG. So I think that this is a great move for them. I feel like it's also a good move for Atlanta as well, because they have too many mouths to feed offensively. I mean, Trey's got to is going to keep the ball in his hands, and he's going to take a lot of floaters, a lot of passes. He's going to get a lot of lobs to Collins and Clint Capella, but then you still have Gallinari and Bogdanovich and Hunter. I mean, it's just a lot of mouths to feed down there. So I mean, Kevin Knox is a good defensive player. Hopefully they can groom him up like they have been grooming some of their talent down there defensively, and helping him keep his confidence on his 3-point shot so that he can provide some good depth for them. Also, they got a first round pick too, so you never know what's gonna happen from that. So I think that is definitely some really good news. I think it's definitely news for both teams. If you're a fan of either one of these sides, it helps out. I think it's gonna help out a lot going forward. It does clear up some space for the Atlanta. It does give the Knicks another scoring option other than Randall and RJ Barrett. So I mean, it's all around a great time for them. All right, guys, that's hot news and not news. When I come back, we'll go over my final thoughts. All right, guys, we're back again with my final thoughts. So, I just want to talk about one Ja Morant right quick. Like, I think that I called for him to get his first NBA All-Star this year, and he's not letting me down to this point. They're on an 11-game winning streak. I mean, they're playing out of their minds. Ja Morant's showing his athleticism like there's like no other right now. I mean, it's just I just did not expect, and I don't think nobody in sports really expected this much out of Ja. I mean, because honestly, I think that he could be like the face of the NBA 5 to 6 years down the road. I mean, I feel like it's about time for KD, Giannis, LeBron still. As the faces, it's definitely Steph Curry are the faces of like the NBA right now. But the next wave of players that are coming in and just are like just like difference makers. I feel like LaMelo Ball's definitely up there. You want to see like Zion get healthy so that because his talent level is such that he could definitely be up there as well. But I wouldn't take anybody over Ja. If you're building a franchise, like who are you taking for the next 10 plus years? You know, you can't take KD for 10 years. He ain't got it. I'm not so sure if Giannis is playing for 10 more years. I mean, he's called the Greek Freak for a reason, so he might be able to. But I definitely know that Ja Morant's just getting started. He's just getting his like jump shot right. He's so athletic that, you know, even losing a step in the next 10 years is still going to be something ridiculous. He's so smart. I think that like the comparisons to Russell Westbrook is kind of accurate. He's definitely that, like, he doesn't play at 1,000 miles an hour like Westbrook when he was younger, but he's so athletically gifted like Westbrook when Westbrook was younger. That it reminds you, like Ja definitely reminds you of that. The thing that it doesn't remind you of is how smart and great of a passer he is. He's like, it's a great combination of a Chris Paul and a Russell Westbrook combined, because he's about 6'1", 6'2". I think he's listed as 6'3", and Westbrook's on the bigger side, 6'3", for point guards. I think he's really a 2 guard, to be honest. And Chris Paul is like on the shorter side, but probably on the lower side of 6 foot. So I mean, he's just one of those guys that just is transcending in front of everybody, and it's just great to see. I think I'm gonna end up covering Memphis, the Grizzlies, this season and future seasons going forward, especially while Ja's there, because I mean it's just something to like to see. It's like you cannot miss that going forward. And I promise you, I'm not trying to. I mean, being from Memphis, I mean, I can always go home and catch a good Grizzly game. That would never be a problem. So I mean, hopefully Ja stay healthy. Hopefully he continues to progress in his career, because I think that he will be, like at this pace, he's definitely going to be in that same conversation like a D Wade was in his peak, or a Kevin Durant, a LeBron James, a Steph player, Chris Paul, like in that sense. I mean, I think that also if he can continue to have like the presence of management to keep great pieces around him and keep building the team and infrastructure around him, there's no way he's not bringing a championship to Memphis. So that's definitely my crazy wild card pick. I think that Memphis will win the championship within the next 5 to 6 years if Ja Morant can stay healthy and the Grizzlies can also continue to improve the team around him. All right, guys, I think that's the end of my final thoughts and my ramble. Hey, if you made it to this far into the video, I definitely want you to take the time to click that subscribe button, like, and turn the notification bell on so that you don't miss the next thing that's dropping from me. I also want to take this time for myself to say thank you to everybody who's watching. You're the true MVP at this point. I also want to take a second to shout out everybody in the Chism Channel organization that had a hand in putting this together. You guys know I couldn't do it without you. Hey, until next time, guys, I'm your host, Jackie Chism. This was the CSG. Peace.
Brought to you by the Chism Channel and TCC Productions.